This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, so I'll call to order the May 14th, 2025 Easthampton Parks and Recreation Commission meeting at 6:00 p.m. Since we have a new member, I thought we would just do brief introductions, just kind of name, role, and how long you've been on the commission. I'm Kira Henninger, I'm the chair. I'm also the CPA representative, so the Committee for Preservation Act. I sit on that committee as well to represent this one, and this is my second year on the commission.
Okay. Marlene and I know each other from years gone by, but I'm Eric Poulin. This is my third term on the Park Rec Commission, so I've been sitting since 2019, I believe, and have really worked for many years in the park. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I'm Brian. I think there was no. Brian Hoppold. I think it's my second term, but I think it's officially only 2.5 years or so that I've been sitting on the commission. Yeah, nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And John Mason, Marlene, we met last week. Welcome aboard. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. And is Desiree online yet?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Desiree Reeve, sorry I couldn't make it in person this night. I think it's my first term still, I believe. Can't wait to meet you in person.
Thank you. Me too. Just a little bit about myself, Marlene Mishansky. I've lived in Easthampton most of my life. I have
You click the gray button
gray
on the other side.
Okay. There. Marlene Mishansky. I've lived in Easthampton most of my life. I have 30 years plus of working in municipal government, and I just retired as town administrator in Hatfield in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So since I have much of my work career was with other municipalities, I thought it would be nice to get involved in my own town's activities. So yeah, just recently appointed, and I'm glad to be here.
Great, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
So first up is review of the minutes from the April 9th meeting. I would take a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I just put a note that I was going to ask Jishva. There were just some typos and a little bit of editing things. Nothing about the content, but I thought not before we posted to the city. So I would like to do that. Is that someone entering the meeting or raising their hand? Okay, so if that sounds okay.
So I guess I'll amend my motion to approve the minutes pending a couple minor typos that have no impact on content.
Yeah. Thank you. And then because we have someone online, we have to do yes, no abstentions by person. So Brian, do you approve the minutes?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And I also approve. Eric?
Yes.
Marlene?
And I'll abstain.
And Desiree?
Yes.
Jishva is running a few minutes late. She is our secretary, so I am trying to take notes as I chair the meeting. So it'll be a little bit slow going to start. Next, we have public speak. So I would invite anyone from the public who wishes to address the commission, either online or in the room. If you're in the room, you can just stand up to the podium. If you want to raise your hand online, this is a time for the public to speak. So we will not respond to anything that you're saying during this time. But you should state your name and address or ward, and each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. Anyone from the public like to speak? Okay, no one in the room? No hands raised online? Okay. And then I'll just ask John, we added this in our most recent rules and regulations document, if there was any correspondence that you've received from the public to bring to the commission.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah.
So the next item on the agenda is CPA. We have the dog park and the skate park applications. So you were going to update us on those?
Yes, so skate park is presenting tomorrow night to CPA, so there was additional information that was needed to be submitted for that, so that's why I presented the additional information that will be submitted to the CPA tomorrow night. However, today, I just learned that the park grant is not going to be $500,000. It's being reduced to $425,000. This is going to impact the CPA request by the skate park folks and their overall fundraising goal. This is all new. I have been in contact with the skate park reps, Jeff and Eddie. We have a conference call tomorrow at 11 to discuss what steps they're going to take to make up the potential difference of $75,000.
How do you know why that grant was reduced?
No, I'm not. I would have an opinion why, but I don't know factually why. But it was just, it was supposed to be 500,000 all along, right up through, and then that's been reduced.
So that was the request, the 500,000.
No, it's not a request. That's the request for proposal. So the proposal is due July 8th. So when the state released the bid doc for park grants, it was released in March with a $500,000 potential, up to $500,000.
Up to 500, okay.
And then they just reduced it to up to $425,000.
Yeah.
So there's a significant reduction across the board. So moving parts next month. See where they're going to go with it. Any questions about the application itself? As you can see, GZA did the report. There was going to be a lot of stormwater issues with the original design from platform, and that was going to push that project into the $1.3 million area. Worked with the skate park folks to look at trying to keep to that 750 number. And GZA came up with about a 6,000 square foot park. And they have not gone out to full designs or anything like that as of yet, but that's kind of where the footprint will land based on the site work.
Any questions or comments about skate park? Dog park.
Dog park. So Joan sent an email, Joan Kurtz from the dog park committee sent an email looking to have a sit down with myself, some folks from the dog park committee, and the commission. I relayed to her that I would put her request on the agenda for tonight and to see who's interested in doing that meeting. If there is going to be a quorum, it'll be a posted meeting for the public. And we can decide what dates that we're looking at. This time of year between budget season and getting summer and 100th and everything else, it's tight on time. I'm trying to find something, especially in the evening. So turn it over to Joe. Questions?
Joan, do you want to speak to that?
He's on mute.
You did.
Joan, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
I am waiting for the decision to be made between Mr. Mason and the commission as to a date and a time. Obviously, if we can have it done before school ends and the pool opens, that would be appreciated so that we can continue to work on what we need to do during that time.
Can I get clarification about what would happen during the meeting?
We'd like to talk with Mr. Mason and the commissioners as to what our plans are moving forward and what your plans are for the dog park, how we can work together and what can we do to expedite this. I understand from a previous email from John that there was a maintenance rules that you were all working on. I haven't seen any maintenance rules. So we seem to be working parallel, but not together, and we'd like to work together.
Maintenance what?
The memorandum of understanding for the agreement between the dog park that I get the draft version.
And we haven't seen that.
I guess, so Joan, I guess I'm just a little confused. Speaking for myself as a commissioner, I would be more than happy to have this meeting with you all. And yes, we need to, communicate and get on the same page. But if it's with a full commission, then it would be a public meeting anyway, just by city rules. So I guess I'm wondering why this couldn't just be like part of a regular commission meeting, the next, like, for example, like the June meeting or July meeting.
I was hoping that the commissioners and Mr. Mason could put together a committee so it's not open to the public. We would just sit at the office and just talk.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I didn't get that piece of information. So
it's okay.
Thank you.
So it sounds like having one or two commissioners so that there is not a quorum to help kind of work through. And this is, so from the last meeting, we talked about how the application was not going to go through to the CPA at the point that it was in, because it was asking for some of the work to be done, a small portion instead of the whole ask. And there wasn't a plan about how much the dog park would be contributing in terms of their fundraising efforts, similar to how we've done other projects. So it sounds like this meeting would be to kind of work through some of those things to come up with a cleaner application that would be ready to submit in the next round of CPA funding. So are there any commissioners that are interested in joining this subcommittee?
I'd be glad to.
Okay, that would be great. Okay. I don't know. Desiree is interested in that. Joshua is not here yet. We can ask her. I think as long as we have one person on it, I would also be happy to do it in case you weren't able to, or if it would be helpful, because I have a little bit of historical context as you're a new member. But I could also chat with you about that outside the meeting time too. Okay, so it sounds like Marlene and John and Joan. And who else would need to be at that meeting? And Bill Cannon.
Should be there.
Okay.
Bill Cannon only wishes to be there if it's necessary. Since you have the draft schematic and we have the draft schematic, it's not necessary. I don't think it's necessary for him to be there. And he's done a lot of work for us gratis. And at this point, he would like to start getting paid. And he said if it's necessary, he'll come. But at this point, he did not think it was necessary for this initial discussion.
So John, do you want to send an email to Joan and Marlene with some potential dates that work for you?
Yeah.
And then you guys can set that.
Good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anything else about the dog park? Okay. So next agenda item is the FY26 budget update.
So the finance subcommittee, for our budget was last night. It went very well. No issues. I think my 4 budgets were less than 10 minutes for discussion points. Next meeting will be the 28th, Wednesday, the 28th, with all budgets for the city in front of the finance committee. And then June 4th will be the city council budget presentation. So the next couple Wednesdays coming up. So nothing other than well received for budget.
Are there any comments or questions?
No, they had no comment or questions. Really, they appreciated our level of funding that we raised towards the free cash. We took the mayor's directive, as always, of 3% across the board or total, and that's what we ended up doing. So it was a tight budget. The mayor wanted a tight budget. There's potential of some staff freezing and some other things that could happen this budget season. So, the mayor's gonna have a tough job setting the budget with city council. So we're respectful of that, and if we do need something, I think moving forward, a lot of budgets are going to be going to city council and asking for appropriations for free cash and just set your budget as is.
Can I clarify, you said staff freezing, do you mean hiring freezing? Or
Yeah, hiring
okay.
freeze. Yeah. So I think there might be a hiring freeze.
Citywide.
Citywide. That's potential.
That's to use free cash for some of the operating budget?
So if we have an expenditure that's not in our budget currently, for example, if we have 3 trees go down for a bad storm, and I gotta call K&J and
Sure.
and it's $4,500. Well, we don't have $4,500 plugged into our budget.
Yeah.
So then we have to go for an appropriation with city council.
Where normally you would budget for unexpected incidents.
No, we
like
never
that,
really do.
but- oh, you don't?
No.
So the decision-
we always we do the best we can with what we have and kind
Yeah.
of move things around.
Okay.
And we still have some talented staff on board that helps the city on the bottom line for what they're able to do.
Thank you.
Park program?
So camp, we opened 2 weeks ago for camp registrations, and we can only take a total of 120 kids, and we're averaging 100 a week right now. So there's not a lot of space available already. The numbers are huge. We were about a 55 camper average for junior camp and a 44 average for senior camp. So numbers are really good. Pool, we're going to have a full lifeguard staff. HR sent out offers today to our new hires. I hope our new hires come through. We have some very talented folks that applied to be work at the pool for lifeguarding and potentially swim lessons. So we want to get moving on that, where we get them in line and we start promoting, figuring out how we potentially could be setting up swim lessons. But it is an important piece that we're looking to return.
you know how many employees we had return?
We had 6 lifeguards return. Been hiring more because we're going to try to assist the Council on Aging with some water aerobics, some extra swim time. I've been working with the COA this past week, letting them know that if we can hire additional staff and they can pay the additional staff out of their budget, the pool is available to them. So that's, that's why it's kind of, there's just so many moving parts trying to organize, get everybody on the same page in such a tight time frame. Doesn't make it for a challenge. We're looking at June 21st for the opening on a Saturday. We might do a soft opening on that Friday, the 20th, if we can, but definitely by the 21st. We have South Shore Gunite coming to open the pool this year. They closed it last year. We want them to open it this year. So the staff has a good sense of how to open and close the pool each year. And we're still under warranty of having them open. It makes good, sound financial sense if they're less of a problem. And camper pool. Arts in the Park, I passed out a schedule. The Arts in the Park schedule is set. We have June 12th is the Council on Aging is hosting a brass band, and then our concert series start on the 11th and go to the 22nd. So there'll be 7 shows at Millside this year. Good lineup, a good mix, and some new. 3 of those bands are new, so it's nice to get in local. So it's nice to get some local musicians to play our stage and get some exposure. Summer, it's with staffing. I had more interviews today for some other positions. Trying to hire an additional toll booth person and interview today for that. Camp secretary interviewed for that today. Camp interviews were on Monday. And then we had a bunch of interviews last week for other positions. So cranking up here before we know it. Questions about that summer park programs coming forward?
Any idea when the tennis courts might possibly be ready?
It's an excellent question. I have that right down here.
Okay.
Tennis courts tomorrow.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, they sent me an email at 3 o'clock today. They're coming tomorrow. So
It's the earliest.
we have a new company. Hence the earliest. So yeah, that could be included in the park program. So yeah, so tennis courts will be refurbished.
All right, park facilities.
Park facility maintenance building update and design. So in your packet, you'll see EDM did some design work, some thoughts. So we're down to 2 kind of design thoughts. I'm not sure which one you guys have in front of you, but if you see the one that's L-shaped, that would be removing the current park and rec building, the other tobacco barn, storage building, and the office building is gone. I guess I should give that as the first update. So the maintenance building has been demolished and hauled away last Thursday. It's completely down to concrete. And the new office trailer for them to work out of, just as a break room and locker room and get out of the weather kind of facility came today. DPW is going to set up the water and sewer for us, and we'll have an electrician come in and tie the electrical in. So in the next week or 2, they should be fully in their office trailer, ready to work out of it and keep them out of the elements. As far as working on equipment, it's still pretty challenging for them to use the other storage barn to work equipment, but they're making do with what they have, and they see the long-term potential that we're all looking forward to. So with that being said, so this one picture is with an L shape that would have a community room in the front. We would expand the current footprint of the building, the maintenance building that was there, towards the road. This would not impact our conservation commission permit that we have for this project, because we can go towards the road. We just could not go back towards the cars there, towards the right in Williston. There would be, the Park and Rec office would be moved on the footprint of where the maintenance building was, and then there'd be the maintenance building and storage straight across to create that L. Removing the current barn, we would add parking there. We'd add parking where the staff parks now, and then looking at some potential parking, either parallel parking or pull-in parking on Daly Field Road. The other one that is replacing the storage building, outbuilding, adding a new maintenance building, and then putting the community room still in the same spot. So both designs have that community room that we're really all interested in having and providing. They would have bathrooms. I believe they've attached the kind of block rooms that they formulate when they design something like this, but there would be bathrooms in there as well. And the L-shaped one would have 5 bays associated with that. And the other one would have 3 with 3 bays. Other. So the designs are here tonight as a reference point before they took the next step of starting to look at cost estimates and actual full-on designs. They kind of wanted to make sure that both of these designs and look were favorable by the commission and myself. I've been working with the EDM studios through the whole process. They've been very, very good to work with, and I like what they've come up with. I think getting rid of that other storage barn is a must. I mean, there's holes, the wood, you can see through it. I think if they're going to do it and do it right, is the way to go. So there's the two. Any questions on designs or thoughts or?
And just to clarify, so if I'm standing in Daly Field Road, looking directly at the office, the old office, which is gone, and you're talking about the Yachty shack, as the old timers would call it, that being back one way as well. The garage on the far left where the truck, that would still stay. That would stay as is.
No, garage on far left on both plans is being removed.
Oh, cool. Okay.
One plan is putting a new building on its footprint, short of its footprint. We actually want to push it up towards Daly Field a little bit, because those that have worked at the park and come around that side behind the tennis courts, that dirt road, our maintenance access road, is very tight and dangerous. So trying to move, so if we're going to put something there, we got to move it at least 6 feet towards Daly Field Road, and then open up a better sight line for safety and for everybody involved. So yeah, both plans eliminate the old tobacco barn.
It's eliminating, but it's also going to rebuild something, right, for storage?
Yes, yeah. So both the L shape basically moves it to the end where, part of our office is now, and then where we park. And then the other one is just where, leaving our building, the other 2 buildings would be replaced. Adding the community room to where the maintenance building is now, and then the other one just same footprint, just moving it up a little further.
And this is in the same time frame as the new maintenance building going up?
This is the two designs we're gonna present.
Okay.
Is there any ballpark estimate?
Yeah.
Like at all?
Now they did not give me.
Okay. And it's also hard to say, like, we could pick a design based on what we think might make sense, but if there's like a large cost difference between the two,
Right.
Yeah,
it's challenging.
yeah, we're going prefab metal on it, so, you know, that'll save costs, when you're on construction. So, I mean, it's still gonna be a number, but yeah, it's, those are the two that they're hoping to get an okay on, and then they would turn around with the cost estimates.
I mean, if cost was no factor. I love the L-shaped design.
I do
I
too.
think it's very,
Looking at it again.
Yeah,
I
exactly. I
agree, yeah.
think, you know, that's gonna be the higher number of the two.
yeah.
That involves moving the office.
Yes.
Is this design part of the overall improvements or is it a separate phase?
This will be the overall improvements. This.
It's included.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in terms of being open to the community also, I think the L shape, it's really clear where you go. I feel like as someone who was getting my park pass for the first time several years ago, I was like, where am I going? Like, it just looks like maintenance buildings to me, the way it's set up now. And I feel like this is more welcoming to the community, especially having a community space there. It improves the parking, and I think the setup, even shifting the building that's next to the tennis courts to improve that access. It's still visually blocking like the tennis courts, and it just feels like a cleaner, more welcoming community space, in my opinion. It sounds like we're all in agreement though on the L shape.
They're gonna do the cost estimates on both though.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's where we're at. That's any other questions? So
Is your current office like a movable space or movable building? Or
it could
is
be
it?
moved, yes.
It's a modular, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wonder if cost is a big factor and we can't do the L. Could we move that in a way that would still create similar sight lines in that first design?
I think everything's on the table.
When will we get the estimate, the cost
I'm
estimate now?
gonna give them to go tomorrow morning or even tonight when I get home to that we like both designs and start hammering out. I told them I'd like to see something within a month, so. I have the first, second week of June.
Could we ask for that first design if they could reimagine, like, knowing that you can move the office that's modular, could they envision something a little different in terms of where they're putting things for those three sets of buildings that is more similar to the L shape?
I could check with them. There's, it's gonna be pretty costly to move that building.
Okay.
Basically have to tear it in half and disconnect all the service lines, everything that's to it. And then I think, you know, the mayor was, if we were gonna get out of that space, is just to get rid of it. Yeah. She'd be pushing for.
And what is the thought on where are we getting funding from for this project? Okay, TBD.
It's gonna get put in the mayor's hands, and that's not in our budget. I presented last night for building, but this is not a surprise party. Everybody's fully aware of what that building was and it needed to be replaced, so it can be a cost associated. And where it lands.
So there wasn't a prior appropriation for it? No. But the project's been approved.
The mayor's been asking, she's the one who authorized the design work.
Okay.
And that came out of her authorization. process.
All right, pickleball.
Pickleball, at the pre-bid meeting on site today. Bid opening is a week from today at 11 o'clock. I had 3 contractors on site asking questions, looking at the project, folks that we're very familiar with, that have done a lot of work around for there. So we'll see where the numbers land on that one as well. So we'll know next Wednesday.
Park entrance.
So I put in your packet just because it was presented to us last meeting. I'm not sure if everybody saw it. So Kira and I thought it was best to give it with all the signatures for that petition that was passed out to Kira and city clerk in the mayor's office. So everybody has a copy of it. I had a meeting with the city engineers last week, 2 weeks ago. We're all running together. We met on site. We looked at 2 potential spots. The original one just past the basketball courts down, and then down into the park, right where the first dumpster is, basically on the right before you come up the hill towards Pavilion 2. So they're working on specs, and they're actually going to look up they're going to work on some cost estimates associated with that, which I thought was really, really good. The traffic study is going to be around 20 to 25,000, and for the neighborhood, my personal feeling is to kind of hold off on that in the financial state that we could potentially be in within the city. And if that project for moving the toll booth comes in at a number that needs funding, I think getting that done first and using any potential funding we could receive towards that project, I think would go a long way. So that's what I have on the direction.
I think that's in line with what we had talked about. We anticipated it would be pretty pricey, and then we wanted to focus on the impact that the toll booth moving had first. And then also thinking about coordinating with the athletic director and the different sports organizations around times of games, and see if we could help ease that Saturday morning where it is the most problematic.
Yeah, and one of the things is if I can get another toll booth person hired and then use our senior tax work off credit folks, I can get one on to assist our toll booth workers on Saturday and one on Sunday. So we have 2 people down there, I think, with the process as well. So, currently, as it is, it would definitely help once it got moved into the park. So that's where we are. Once I get designs and cost estimates, it's a city resource that's doing this work for us. So there's a lot of projects that we're involved in the city. So when they get their designs and numbers back, before the summertime, and then we can talk about getting that moved down maybe for fall.
Right. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Next, new city playground update.
So we had a conference call today. Just kind of give an overview. There's more towards the water, sewer, stormwater, retainage, things like that. So they got an extension on the design work and the project as a whole for another 30 days past where they were. So not too much to report other than we had our community outreach event over at Eastworks, pretty well attended. A lot of folks got to see the plans, some for the first time, some have been regulars and have really been involved in the project. So there is going to be more once the final design is done and planning releases it on the website. They say they're at 90% on our stuff.
So I guess just to kind of get on the records with this. So it seemed like around town, which is never a good way to gather information. After that outreach meeting, there was a sense that some folks were going to have parts of their backyards taken through eminent domain for the park. Can you just confirm that that's not going to happen?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no taking of any property. That's thanks for bringing that up.
Yep.
Those types of questions were directed to the planning department, but there's folks that were worried about the property was taken. But no, there's no any walkways or any access points between the two properties would be dealt with the Parsons Place and not any residents' backyards, because that's the only connection point. Their driveway is the connection point. But no, there'll be no big spotlighting or anything like that. There might be some soft glow safety lighting just around the pathway that would be on a timer. But plan would be there'd be no. You're not going to see it from your yard or windows or any. And then privacy fencing for the entire neighborhood. So 6 foot high privacy fencing along the whole thing to help with privacy, noise, any other things associated with parks. The design group, planning, myself, DPW, everybody that's been involved, we're trying to be very respectful for that neighborhood on the plans, but also try to bring a park that would be a jewel and piece that would be phenomenal for that neighborhood for all ages, because there's a lot of grass space. There's just regular swings and the porch swings that have shades over them. So, just grabbing a cup of coffee at your neighborhood park and meeting a friend and swinging, is all going to be part of it. There's playgrounds, yes, but there's a walking trail or path that will have 3 loops equals a mile or whatever it may be. So when folks are walking and think, I walked a mile, I didn't have to walk down the streets or worry about traffic or anything else. So there's a lot of little pieces like that. There's a nice little bridge that crosses over a stormwater area, just some classy touches. So it really has a chance to be an amazing park.
And what is the next step for that?
When they get the stormwater plans figured out and then put into the design plans to make sure that they're not putting, say, a playground where they're supposed to be putting stormwater retention in, we should have it. So I would say hopefully by our next meeting, we would have a good sense of where they're going to be. But like I said, they have an extension now on this project because they have to go to. Actually, no, they won't have it for next meeting because they're going on vacation in the second week of June. So it'll be pushed off.
And lastly, Daily Field.
Daily Field 100. Things are shaping up. Very excited. We have music from 3 to 5. We have food trucks lined up. Party patrol playing inflatables over. We're going to have a baseball game of some sort on Daily Field. I'm meeting with the Easthampton High School Hall of Fame committee, Jeff Sealander, who was the AD principal, very involved in everything Easthampton High through the years. We're meeting tomorrow at 10 to get the Hall of Fame group involved. We really want to have an alumni baseball game for Easthampton High School and try to bring back some of those players through the decades. You'll probably be getting the call. So yeah, we're one of the things we want to do T-shirts for everybody who plays. So we're looking at potential we cover the cost of the t-shirts, and the rest of the money towards the t-shirts goes towards the Hall of Fame committee for Easthampton High School, so they can raise some money towards scholarships and things they do. So we're trying to create as many partnerships throughout this event to really get a lot of folks there. I want to make sure it's a family event as well. A lot of players have graduated, they're 30, 40, 50 years old. They have kids, they might come, they don't live around here maybe anymore. They come back here, play a couple of innings. Their kids get to enjoy music, food, inflatables. So we really want to make it a great event for the community. So it'll be noon to 5 on the 21st. And after tomorrow, the meeting with Jeff, you'll probably start seeing more on the socials about the outreach to get more players. And we've reached out to some folks that have been involved in baseball in Daly Fields and writing up some things, the history and some improvements. Some of the players and some of the stories that have gone through it. And Eric and I are working on things, and Eric's going to have. I don't want to put any pressure on him as being, a published author, but we're gonna have some things, some stories and some things to tell that day, and really make it a fun event. So,
John, how do you plan on getting the message out or the advertising out?
So we posted on Facebook already, but I did want to go. We're gonna go to the newspaper soon, but I wanted to get more information and more legs around the alumni baseball game. We tried to get the old time baseball Westfield team to come over, and they're booked that day, so they can't make it. But once I have kind of a better understanding of who's going to be playing that day, I will get it out there more. We're 5 weeks, over 5 weeks away from that. We want to be by the 1st of June. We really want to be out there getting it out to everybody. The current coaches for Easthampton High School and AD all have the information. They've started reaching out to players that have played through the past and their connections. So we set up an email where people can just respond right to that email if they're interested in playing. So you'll see more of that stuff hopefully by Monday.
So when you meet with Jeff tomorrow, and this has occurred to me somewhat recently in the planning, so I probably should have talked to you ahead of time. So I'm sorry to pull people in surprise on you. What I think we should possibly try to avoid is just having it a situation where who played baseball at EHS? Boys. So having it just be a man only event. If we could possibly think about alumni softball players, or the EHS girls basketball team has historically been better than the boys over the years, but they've been incredibly successful. So maybe some kind of alumni EHS basketball. You know what I mean? Like something so it's not just so it's not so male centric.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to Jeff and whatever his he wants. If they want to honor teams that have or people that have been in the Hall of Fame, we're going to invite them. So everything's on the table. I want to get as many folks back here as possible.
Absolutely,
and in whatever capacity.
Cheers for Title IX.
Yeah, obviously I agree. Thank you for bringing that up. And then just in terms of advertising, I think, sending a flyer to the schools and having them send it out to families before they dismiss for the summer.
Yeah.
I don't know, the Council on Aging, I don't know when their next newsletter will come out, but an ad in there, or advertising that it's happening, I think is another good space. Because there are a lot of people on social media, but there are a lot that are not.
I believe the high school sends out, or the school department sends out newsletters electronically now as well.
Yes. Yeah.
We were working with the school department on this. If we can get that medium to be more effective than sending it in a flyer in a backpack, I think that's definitely a good idea. Like I said, we want to get as many people there as possible.
The city has a Facebook.
Yeah, so it's on the city Facebook page already. That was just to save the date.
Yeah.
We put, the kids' games and inflatables, remember the baseball game, live music, food trucks, and more details to come.
All right, any last thoughts for old and continuing business? Okay, so then we have to pick our next meeting date. I believe Wednesday, the 11th does not work.
No good. I am
Okay.
at a junior fund event.
Okay. So I don't know how if Tuesdays work for people. Or we could push it back to Wednesday, the 25th, if we stuck with Wednesday. I did notice on the city calendar, the zoning board has a meeting in the council chambers, so we would just need a different space.
25th is fine with me. I didn't know if we wanted to meet one more time before the Daily Field 100th. If you want to meet before then, because the 25th would be after that.
I don't think we really need to meet on that because there's going to be no real voting or just, discussion points. We're gonna move forward on just keeping everybody informed on what we're doing and kind of the timeline and the outline of the event day. I think is more important.
So John, what works better for you? Kind of the week of the second week or the fourth week of June?
That end of the June's fine. And that actually, I think that might be able to get us more. If we move it up, I'm afraid we're not going to have a lot of information that would extend out to July, where if we go towards the end, there could be a chance where we're getting a lot more information on projects that are on the burner.
So how does Wednesday, the 25th work for everybody?
Put it in my calendar.
I will probably be gone, but I might be able to do remote.
Okay.
That worked for me.
You said it's taken up here that night.
Yeah, the zoning board is meeting here. Desiree, does that work for you?
Yeah, same. I might be away, but I can call in if I am, so.
Okay. And I can let Carolyn know the date sooner rather than later. Okay, if there's nothing else, take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Great, all in favor?
Hey.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.